Hi, I'm Gavin Shields and this is Self-Storage Explained. Expert advice on how to set up and scale your self-storage business. Hi James.
Hi Gavin.
Hello, thanks very much for joining.
No problem at all.
So this is James from BearBox, and so James, we invited you on to talk about BearBox and go through kind of help anyone who's listening to understand what BearBox is and why it's a good option for their self-storage facility. So we're going to try and get into some of the detail there, and we have lots of Stora customers use BearBox, tons. So something we know pretty well. But before we get into that, there was you won an award at Fidesa, and I was sitting in the audience, and the person next to me, Michael Fogelberg, would not stop talking, so I didn't quite catch what it was for. Can you explain what it was that you won?
Yeah, so we won the Fidesa Innovation Prize or Award 2023. It was for two-factor authentication on our keypads. So it's a very good security feature. It's quite easy to implement, and most customers, they use it in conjunction with a single factor in the day. So you might in the day, or 9 to 5, allow people to just use their PIN codes because it's low risk, and then come 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whenever you want, you switch to two-factor. So you require QR code is normally what it is with a PIN code. So you get your phone out, you show the QR code to the keypad, and only then can you type in your number and open the door. And it's proved very effective for people who have been hit by break-ins. So they have 1 or 2 break-ins, and then they introduce, we upgrade the system, and they go away, probably just down the road to someone who doesn't have it. But it's very good.
So is the customer experience there, James? So they turn up at your gate, and they've got is it an app that they have for you?
Well,
QR code, like an image on their phone somewhere.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you can manually add it into your phone wallet. So, for example, I manually did that in the wallet, or you can have it in your email or wherever you want. Some people have it as they take a screen grab of that.
And that code there gets you into any self-storage business in the world that uses BearBox. Is that correct?
No, it doesn't. It's unique to the customer. So in fact, the QR code and the PIN have to match. They are linked.
Okay.
So a master key.
Yeah, no. I just thought you might have a master key for yourself, but no.
Oh no, we don't. We haven't got that implemented. It's dangerous.
Yeah. Okay, so the customer would let's say they're using QR codes, they'll scan it on the thing, and then will they receive a message to their phone? Is that what it is?
No, it's not like that. It's that you have to. It's your PIN number that you use in the day, same thing, combined with the QR. Because normally what happens is that someone untoward would just park a van next to your gate and just watch a customer enter their PIN number in.
I see. Okay.
And then come back later to use it, and of course they find that it doesn't work. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's why a lot of people would use it at night whenever nobody maybe around to check. But you can have it on 24 hours a day if you wish.
Yes. Yeah. You can, and you could also just have it in one area if you wanted. So yeah, it's very effective.
Cool. Okay. Right. Well, well done. Nice one. That sounded like a good feature actually. Cool. Yeah. So the first thing I kind of wanted to ask about, or just understand, and I'm asking these questions as somebody with a couple of sites, trying to understand if I'm opening up a new site, how might BearBox play a role in that site? So, so just at a very high level, could you explain what does BearBox do?
Yeah.
Facility. Why would an operator want to install BearBox at their facility?
Well, let's roll it back just slightly and say, why would if they have Stora or another tool, but here we are.
What other tool?
What other tool?
Which other tool?
Yeah. Let's say they have Stora. It kind of we integrate with you guys, and it creates a really nice and easy solution for going unmanned if you're not already, or just lowering your admin, because let's say you have a site and you have your website with Stora. The customer goes online, they rent a unit they like, they'll get an email automatically just with a saying welcome here. These are opening hours. Here is your PIN number or your credentials to get into the site. You can download the app, blah blah. That information, that same number, is automatically synced to our system and onto their site with their contract start date and contract end date if they've got one. And then the moment they roll up on day one, they'll be able to go into the facility, and in theory you, the owner of the site, will have had no interaction at that point with the customer. So it's a huge burden removed. So that is a great advantage. Yeah. And then of course, and likewise, if they stop paying or when their contract ends, that PIN code is or the QR code is removed from the system all automatically. So they can no longer go in. And so it just prevents a lot of people who have a low tech solution, they just got fed up of having to check who's paid, who's not paid, and then go and enter the system, delete that number or add that number in. We get a lot of customers like that who say opened up on a budget and a shoestring and just installed the cheapest thing they could, but and then proved their site worked, and now want to go pro, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so would you often be installing BearBox at an existing site then? So would you have that a lot, or you've got a customer who has that?
It's both.
I can't manage this anymore, because we would get that with the software quite a bit. Where somebody's like, I've got 60 or 70 containers, or I have an indoor facility with 100 units. Half full now. I can't manage.
Yeah,
I'm doing all the invoicing manually and stuff. I need someone to do it. So that would happen to us. Would that happen to BearBox too?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. But you do also get new sites, people who obviously decided to just do it properly from the word go. But you also do get people, who've got old equipment. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So am I right then? So if you're going to install BearBox, so the smart entry system, so it's a hardware that's installed at the gate. So the gate, let's say the gate that opens and closes, you might have a roller shutter door that opens and closes.
Yeah.
And
sliding doors, any door really. Any door, you can generally put access control onto it with a maglock, so a swing door, sliding door, electric gates.
So you and your team will come to the site, and we'll come to the site and install some hardware. These doors, and then you also have the software that talks to the doors going forward. So the doors, does the hardware have to be connected to presumably Wi-Fi network then? Is that or some sort of internet network on the site?
We generally do it all hardwired.
Okay.
And to be clear, also, we don't actually install the gates or the doors, but we do connect into them. So there'll always be like a little box on every automatic door. We can install a maglock onto a door. That's not too difficult, but we wouldn't install a gate. And we would come along and we would install all our hardware, and we would do all our wiring as well. We do ask that people provide us with places to run the cable, especially if it's going to a gate. We need to go from wherever the kind of comms room, or there's got to be a place, even on a container site, where the power comes in and the broadband comes in, and we would then need like a pipe or a duct going from that place to the gate, and then just places we can run cables out to roller doors and whatnot. And we can do a little bit, but we don't have a JCB, so we don't go around digging up trenches. Okay.
Well, one of the things I get asked quite a bit is, how do you, at my own sites, how do you close the door? and so generally
What, like
that's
gate?
yeah, a gate or a gate or a roller shutter door. How do you close them? And on my site, the way the gate opens, like it's just I presume BearBox is the same. It's what you do is you say open the gate, and that's it. And then you generally will have at your gate separately whoever installs the gate. Maybe it's a 1 minute timer that closes it or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Is that the same? Is that
It
correct?
is the same, yeah. So that you have to have your gate or your roller or any of those all have a timer for how long they will stay open once they've stopped receiving an open signal, and that is what closes it. So we send like a little signal for about 5 seconds to open it if it's just a one-time thing. You can also hold open a gate or a roller, which people do if they're confident about it or they're on site. So they just set up a schedule so that the gate opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 5. Pin codes will still work outside of that or whatever credentials you've got. But yeah, the closing part is done basically by the door itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Or if it's a swing door, you've got to put a closer on that door, like one of those things you see at the top, which just pulls it slowly closed.
Right.
That's that. Yeah.
Yes, and I have one of those at one of my sites as well, where it's just actually a steel kind of gate. Because my site's unmanned, I put a secondary door on the way in.
Yes, very good idea. Create an airlock.
I looked at getting the electric sliding doors, like you see in a shop.
Yes.
It was like £5,000 or £7,000.
Yeah.
I found a company that did just like a steel
door,
like
swing
wall
door,
almost, and a steel. Yeah, so like it's just mesh, like a steel mesh, and in it there's a door in it, and it has a closer, so it closes itself.
Yeah.
And I have that on there, so that's how that works.
Yeah. You can also get they're called either hold open or hold backs, which are the kind of inverse of the maglock, or they're the maglock in the open position. So you like say you authorize yourself, the maglock releases so you can open the door, and then you push it against a magnet in the open position, and we can set it up so that that's held for 10 minutes or whatever you want, so that door stays open. And that's a very nice low cost way of having a door held open for 10 minutes or something, if that's what people want.
Yeah. Then one of the things we see a lot at the conferences is smart entry systems like yourselves. Yes, can I put I want to have an indoor facility and I want locks on the gate and the roller shutter, but can I also put a lock on every single unit door?
Yeah.
So we chatted about this a couple of weeks ago. So you're trying to give a solution for that now that you've installed in your first facility recently. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How that works?
Yeah. So I mean, you're right. And in summary, what you're just saying is basically you want to secure the kind of perimeter, which might be your entry gate if you have one, or your roller door, and then you might try and secure the corridors internally, as in, or like you can do that, and then finally you get down to the granular of either monitoring in every single individual box or electronically controlling them. So like everyone has an app to open a door. So yeah, we've just released our own electronic locking product. It's quite nice. It's installed on the inside of the door, which means that the door is completely blank, as it were. There's no door handles. When you press the button on your app, which is communicates via Bluetooth with the door, it just pings open about so much, an inch or something. Either it'll carry on swinging out, or you can put your hand in and pull it out. Yeah. And
how does the customer close the door then? Is it just a matter of pushing it shut?
Yeah, it's just a matter of closing it a bit like I don't quite know actually what it'd be like, but like a kitchen door that stays locked. Yeah. So yeah.
So is it a magnet?
No, it's a physical latch. I've got one here actually.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't have this is the lock itself that we install inside, and then there's a I don't know what I've got to show. That's going to be too big, I think. But you know, there's this component which is just a screw, but that's attached to the door, and as it goes around, it like locks. It goes into there,
Okay,
and that goes down, and it's locked.
gotcha. So it's a latch. It's a latch solution.
Yeah, it is a latch solution. It's hardwired, so there's no batteries, and it connects to the phone via Bluetooth.
And so
you can only open it when you're, in range. You can't just
open it from your home.
from the car park or wherever.
Yeah. And so, what's the customer experience then? So, if you've got a facility that has that installed,
Yes,
and you have your gates with a BearBox gate, a BearBox roller shutter, and then a unit door with BearBox as well. What's the customer experience there for how they get into they arrive, they drive up. How do they get in? What are the different ways they can get in?
yeah. You know what? I mean, I could try. I'm going to just try and open in the background the app user experience if I can.
Okay.
But basically, you drive up. Most people still use PIN codes. It's still very popular. I think a lot of people they do like the use of apps, but they always think about this kind of like tiny percentage. I don't even know what 1% who don't have a smartphone, or if it's an existing site, they've had someone there for 20 years who they don't think would download an app, and they don't want to rock the boat, so they generally have PIN codes anyway, or keypads for PIN codes just for those customers.
Okay.
But you can obviously use an app to open a gate, so you can drive up once you're inside like a virtual fence that you set around the site. You can open the gate, so you drive up, you can open the gate, and you drive in. You can open the roller door, then you walk up to your unit and you can open that.
And that's all and so that can all be with one app that's downloaded to open up all of those doors.
Yes, yeah. And obviously you try and include instructions on downloading that app with the login details on the welcome email, right? So that when that thing that's template from Stora, right? You can say this is where you need to download the app, include any instructions. Am I able to do this? I'm trying to open it just for everyone's peace of mind. But sometimes I think obviously you can't really use a phone while you're driving particularly easily. So people do just drive up to the keypads, even though they have the app.
Yeah.
Type in their codes like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So a customer can. What would happen if there's a customer then who doesn't have a smartphone and they turn up, they use a code on the gate, they're moving in for the first time. How would they get into their unit?
Well, if they didn't have a smartphone, at the moment it would be tricky for them to open one of these electronic locks.
Yeah. So they'd have to meet somebody or arrange to meet somebody on site.
Well,
get in, or
they might not. I mean, if it's a brand new site and they were all electronic locks, it would be. At the moment, we don't have a solution for that.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure that all sites will go 100% electric locks. They'll keep them as a premium, is what I would.
Okay.
So as part of the kind of like trying to differentiate, upsell to a customer, you keep like some manual and some.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice one. Okay. So and then there's a couple different ways that just from knowing some of the customers we have who use BearBox, there are different customer experiences. So it can be a PIN. So there's a simple one that I understand is you drive up, type a PIN in, and the gate opens. End of story.
Yes, and sometimes it's as simple as that. Yeah.
And we've loads of customers, and that's the way they do it. And then For container side, a lot of people might leave the containers unlocked and a padlock sitting inside, or there might be a little box for padlocks, whatever it might be. And there's different ways people manage that, but that's separate to BearBox. That's kind of, well, in that example, you're controlling the gate, opening the gate.
Yeah.
So from a customer experience, so there's a PIN number, and then there's also a QR code. So that's something else that can be used as well.
Yes.
What other ways? Because there's also automatic number plate recognition as well.
Yeah.
We support as well, along with BearBox. So how does that work?
Well, so it reads the number plate of your car as you approach, and again, if you've entered that into the into Stora, which is if you're using that, or your rental tool, which is your kind of like source of truth where you manage your customers, then yeah, you can open a gate. You have to be careful with ANPR. There aren't many sites where it's suitable because you need to get the approach angle correct. So you often see ANPR is used a lot in car parks, but they all, and you'll know like that they really control where you drive up. Like, there's concrete on both sides, and you kind of do this.
Yeah.
And, I mean, most sites kind of aren't suitable for ANPR because you can approach from a wide. You can really approach from like a wide angle. So,
okay.
But you can, and certain sites, they have a nice little drive, and cars can like approach in the correct position. Yeah.
Okay. And so is there any other way that, from a customer experience, when they turn up, are there any other ways? So there's
what have you got? You've got ANPR, PIN numbers. Oh, you've got fobs, of course.
Okay.
People still like fobs. QR codes. Is there another one? The app as well.
Yeah, you can use that's the BearBox app.
Yeah, and the BearBox app. Yeah,
okay.
And we actually have two apps. So there's one for the admins and there's one for customers. So if you, as the site owner, have the app, you're able to open the gates and the roller doors from anywhere, as in your app. Because that means that, say, somebody or a delivery driver or whoever has approached the gate and you're not there, you can check them out on CCTV and decide whether or not you're going to open them. Whereas the customer app is geofenced, so you have to be within range to try and open that gate.
So you could, for example, somebody, if it is an unmanned site or if it's a Sunday afternoon, somebody turns up and your phone number, you could open up the gate and kind of talk to them on the phone and show them around. And, say, go and look at unit number 6, and
yes,
does that suit? And they say yes, and you could go ahead and take the booking, and they can get a code. They can move in straight away. Yeah,
and if you use our camera system, you can also see the camera feeds in the app.
So can you tell us a bit more about the camera system?
Yeah, well, we use a Samsung product, which is quite secure. It's sort of, and most people use Hikvision, which is but it has security issues.
Okay.
But Samsung make a good camera, and we can do all the usual things such as motion sensing recording, and we can also link into BSOC or any other monitoring station. So that, and that, I mean, that's a really great feature. I always tell people to consider that. It's good value, I think, great value, and means that, out of hours, if a camera picks up some movement inside your facility, or you can obviously mask out on the cameras as well. They will jump straight onto the live feed, see what's going on, and follow a list of instructions that you set out. So obviously, if someone's breaking in, they'll get straight onto 999. But if it's unclear whether somebody's, I don't know, you know what I mean. But if it's not, they can then ring you or ring this number or that. So that's really excellent, and we can, or you are able to view the live feeds within the app as well. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Nice one. That does sound like a good benefit. I know DSOC is very popular and solution.
There are others, and some people go for a local one as well. Sometimes I think there's a local mafia in certain places, so you go with them and then you don't get hit. That's
Oh, I
the,
see. It's like protection money.
yes, it does sound like that. Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah.
Ant's doing?
Well, if he is, he's doing it very subtly. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I was going to ask about, you mentioned earlier a little bit about securing like a corridor perimeter. Is that the zone? You have a zone feature, haven't you? So you could have like a zone, ground floor zone, first floor zone.
Yeah.
And so that way you can limit access by customer to different zones. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, so there's two sort of ways you could do it. You can either use access control on doors and lifts and stairwells to control who can go on what floor, or even within the building, right? There's no reason why you can't, or many buildings do have fire stop doors. There's no reason why you can't zone that all. You can zone by floor, you can split the floors. Some customers also have offices like on the side, and you can go between them. So there's like all these combinations of things, and you can put access control on, which should stop people getting into the wrong places. Yeah. But you can also add motion sensors on the corridors, which means that, and then monitor them, right? So if one goes off, you get a notification in your email, and then one of our customers used this very effectively because they'll see that 6 went off on several floors, and they're like, well, that's very suspicious. It's like, I mean, you might get 1 or 2 because someone's trying to find the toilets or something, but when you get loads, they then see those emails. I mean, they have a whole rigmarole with email rules and things. They then like look at the cameras. Who was it? Oh, they signed up recently. They give them a call. They get spooked, and they generally get foiled, or they take actions following that because they've been scouting out the building. Yeah. So yeah, and that's not too expensive either. Putting motion sensors into corridors. If you can, it depends on the size of the facility. There's one we're doing which is like 6 floors with offices. It's a prime candidate. Whereas some of them are very small. They're only like 50 units, as small as that, and you really can't do any you can't do anything there because it's just of that size. Yeah. Okay, and so that's all of that stuff there. So the motion sensor stuff, that's stuff that you will come and physically install. Is that correct? That's all part of what you can, your services, you can do that. Yeah, I think everything we're mentioning is stuff that we install and commission and sort of monitor. Well, we don't. I shouldn't say we don't monitor like DSOC, but when a piece of equipment, because it's cloud based, when something goes offline, we'll get notified about it. In our system, and sort of be able to have a look at it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask. Sorry. No, I don't know. I was going to say we haven't talked about the sort of much more about the integrations, because I know that you were asking about how it works, the integration, and my answer was I don't know. Yeah, and I also don't. I'm not entirely sure. So, what we're talking about here is that if you're going to install BearBox, you'll often want to use a software product alongside it. Stora is an option, and we have a lot of customers who use Stora and BearBox. You have a lot of vice versa. With a lot of mutual customers. Yeah. And so at a high level, my understanding is the operators will get the system installed, and then there is a step then where you get BearBox installed, you set up a Stora account, and then there's a time whenever it's installed that we need to connect BearBox to Stora. Yeah. And that's in Stora there's a little area where you can basically add in a couple of different codes that we need to get from you provide to the operator, or you can provide directly to us. It's put in the system, the connect, and then from then on Stora, if a customer books through your Stora system, it will talk to BearBox, we create the codes and send them all out. Yeah. So that's the integration stage. Exactly. Yeah, and it works very well, I think. Yeah, because it gives you it allows you to, and the reason it's so popular, BearBox is so popular, is it works with it, and it does things like we have this kind of concept of 1 minute move-ins, where we have this idea we want our operators who are using Stora to be able to let their customers
drive up to the gate. Let's say it's a Sunday night, 10 p.m. And if you have a BearBox installed or any smart entry system that the customer could, in theory, book online, put their payment details in, pass an ID check, sign the contract, and just get the BearBox code and just move themselves in.
Yeah.
And let's say the payment fails, then the code won't work. They won't get the code.
No.
So like all of that stuff is kind of managed, and BearBox is a really important part of making that all work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you described it perfectly. I'm not sure how many of our actual customers would let someone, a new customer, walk in on Sunday at 10 p.m. But I get, the principle is there. You could if you really wanted. Most people would say no. You can only have 9 to 5 Monday to Friday access for like the first X number of months, or until they've met you and seen the whites of your eyes. I want to be sure before they go around offering 24-hour access generally.
Yes, and actually, so at my sites, I close at 11 p.m. so people can't open doors after 11 p.m.
Yeah,
apart from if they're trying to get out.
Yes.
And if somebody drove up on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock, like there's nobody there. But we have this in store. We have this bank level ID check.
Yeah,
it would require somebody to take a selfie picture, a picture of the ID, it matches the pictures up, and sends away for a third party check. So because we have that, I allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So I made a decision. I don't need to see the whites of their eyes because sort it out for me. Like it's hard to get past that. So, but that is a business decision. Some people might prefer not to do that, and it's up to them. It doesn't matter. It's there if they want it. BearBox enables it. Stora enables it, but doesn't mean. And some people might, like you say, Monday to Friday 9 to 5. That's it, no problem. But some people might say, well, we're there Monday to Friday 9 to 5. If it's a Sunday night, look, we'll have the software. We'll actually allow that at that time of the day.
Yeah, and some people live in they probably do live in very low risk areas and have a very high tolerance for risk. So, we've got customers who only have an in keypad. So to allow people in, so they have no way of knowing when people have left. Yeah. And so they can't activate any systems, which is quite a basic kind of, if you're trying to fight crime, it's not knowing when people have gone is a difficult one.
That's a good point. So BearBox, with BearBox, you can just have it in, but you could also have it so that it's set to get out. So that means that you're logging. You'll always know who's on site.
Yeah. Yes. And so obviously that's all saved in the logs, and then you can go through it, or, you might just as an operator want to see if anyone is logged in, because you might not be able to see them on the cameras unless you've got like this 100% coverage or whatever. So you just want to know who's on site. Obviously people can still ignore, they can sort of tailgate someone out. And so, I always say that the importance of signage and saying, make sure that people know what they've got to do. Mm-hmm. If they don't, then send them emails, remind them, find them, etc., etc. Yeah.
Okay. So what's your biggest site that uses BearBox, and what's the smallest site? What's the range you would typically customers typically have?
In small sites, we've got, what is our small? I probably just described it. It's this one keypad. In terms of like what we've done, it's going to be the one keypad that gets you on site. That would be the smallest situation.
That might be somebody with 30, 50 units, something that sort of size.
Yeah, although maybe even larger. We just did one in Watford. I don't know how many units that was. It was 2 stories. I was going to be just over 100 units. Uh-huh. But they are manned, so they're going to be there all the time.
Okay.
Not really an issue. We go up to product sites that have over 1,000 units. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many, and then like multiple offices, multiple buildings, multiple floors.
And so
yeah, no, all of it really.
Yeah, so you're sort of suitable for any size site. And what's the reason? So, obviously, we've talked a little bit about BearBox and Stora working together to create, the ability to let people move in and not necessarily have to talk to members of staff. Lots of people still have staff on site, and it's our data suggests that in many cases it can be can help the sale if members of staff and have people talk to customers. So some of our operators, do that, and some of them just let people book online. It's a whole mix, and different works for different customers. So my question is going to be, why? If you've got staff on site, you've lots of people with BearBox and staff on site. What's the big benefit of having BearBox while having staff on site as well?
Well, you can't, even if you have staff on site, you can't be everywhere in that building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you've got you can't be security guard and salesman all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, I suppose, what could you do? You could theoretically operate a container site, which is without BearBox, obviously people do, but it's that manual process of having to remove people, and if you just leave your gate open and people stop paying, then they can just come in anytime they want and get their stuff. And they, you can overlock it and then they can cut it off like you can.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you've got the BearBox, you're able to control when they come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned, so if you've got staff there, it's a big site. You can't be everywhere all at once. So it's helpful to have BearBox. The zones would be helpful. If you've got 3 floors, people coming and going all day, that it does secure the building a lot more. And then presumably, I imagine there are a lot of operators who maybe when you move in during our opening hours the first time you move in, but after you're moving, you can use BearBox to kind of come and go. Maybe they close at 5 p.m. but from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. you can get access using BearBox.
Yeah.
And that's and that can often, like, I just, for myself, if I move house, which I've done quite a bit recently, just because we're renovating a house, but 9
to 5 doesn't work.
On a Saturday or Sunday, I want to move my stuff at the weekend. And if I was calling someone like, we're only open Monday to Friday, I wouldn't be able to use it. So presumably that's often a benefit as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you can you can leave early basically if you wanted to, if it's your own site, or your staff who are going to leave at 5, 6 o'clock, but you think it's fair to offer it till 8, 9 o'clock. Exactly. It works. And some of your customers will probably ask for 24-hour access, and you'd be able to offer it as well with the system.
Yeah.
As long as you trust them, that people don't advertise 24-hour access, but they do it. If they're customers who've been with them for a while, or they know. Again, you've got that capability to keep your site secure.
Yeah, from what I understand, there are sometimes people do is that maybe you can get 24-hour access, but it's only available after maybe 2 or 3 months, or maybe something like that. And then there might be an extra charge for it if you want it. But I've seen that before. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
other people are doing lots of clever pricing.
Yeah. No, it could definitely be a little upsell. And actually, it fits in well with, we released just last week unit type groupings on Stora, so you can have premium units. So you could have a 50 square foot ground floor, different price to the first floor, potentially even for access, a different price again. So then you can manage all that with BearBox. So okay, all right. Final couple of questions. Sorry.
I think I've also heard people doing time of day pricing, which sounds very sophisticated. Because they've worked out they can charge more for, I don't know, because it must be a business customer during these hours versus at the weekends and late nights will be a domestic customer.
Do you mean that the
price goes up at sort of 9 a.m. and then drops down at, I actually haven't seen it, but this is what I've heard, this dynamic pricing, which I think they use in airlines and hotel bookings and things like that.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder if hotel prices go up on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
And flight prices, because that's when I tend to go on to book with them.
Yeah, and I mean, they can also do it geographically. So this is anyway, this is not what, this is the kind of complicated stuff. If you run your own website, you can do that, can't you? But
yes,
it doesn't make a difference to us.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference to you. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually, dynamic pricing is a really interesting topic where dynamic pricing is coming out from Stora very soon. Like the next 2 weeks. We aren't releasing the different prices during the day, but there's a good argument for doing that because we have this, every operator who uses Stora can see like a little heat map of what time of day, but it's like Monday to Sunday by hour, when are you getting most bookings? And so you could argue demand's higher those times. Maybe you could pop the price up a little bit. But so it's interesting. We haven't done that, but there's definitely you could easily.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, this is off topic, but when people use automatic number plate recognition, and obviously they get the plates, they then run the plates through some sort of website to work out the value of the vehicle, and then decide on what their price hike will be at the third quarter. Lots of sneaky
dark arts
stuff. Yeah,
you apply the same to the type of card they're using. Maybe if somebody's using an Amex or a corporate card. If you're paying with a corporate, so far your fees are higher. Like I think 1.9% maybe might be the fees on corporate cards, but potentially that customer is not price sensitive. Rather than giving a 6% price increase, you could give them a 12% price increase and more than make up for the extra card charge. Anyway, totally off topic, but it is very interesting.
Yeah. Do you say you had any more questions?
Yes, I was going to ask, what countries do you serve?
Yeah, so at the moment it's Europe and the UK. If you, but yeah, as in like geographical Europe, and the main reason for that is that our support team is all based in Europe, and so we offer office hours kind of support Monday to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're outside of that in the States, then you won't get very much support. And we don't get many. We have had inquiries from like further afield, but in the same time zone. But it's still a long way to go if something goes wrong.
Nordics? Do you serve the Nordics?
Yes.
So maybe that counts as geographic Europe. I don't know.
That is, that's geographic Europe. I think we've got sites in Sweden and Norway. Lots. Yeah. I think 16 countries. I think we've got. Yeah.
Okay. And then language support, is that something that's an issue? Do people often need that?
No, it's. I mean, if we can. What do we support? We've got French, English, Spanish, some German, and some Italian, I think, and Portuguese. But I mean, that's what the speakers. But obviously, we do most of our support on email, and then we just Google Translate it.
And it's not an ongoing thing generally. If somebody installs BearBox, there may be some questions back and forth over a year or two, but generally it's not something that you're going to have staff in touch every day, because generally we would often maybe have that people are using Stora every day to run the business. That's talking to BearBox on their behalf and managing and everything. So it's more likely you'd be talking to your software provider like Stora than maybe BearBox, I imagine. What about cost? Like what if somebody's listening to this and thinking, oh, that sounds great, like can you give us a ballpark estimate? Where does it start? I know there's lots of options, so it all depends obviously, but you give us some background on that.
Well, so your sort of most simple system really would be we see this with a lot of container sites, is 2 keypads on a gate. And that would typically be 4 to 5K plus that, and then the support. So this, because it's a cloud-based system, and the hosting and support would be, it's about £50 a month, and we do a lot of those 2 keypads. Sometimes they'll have a gate and a roller. But then, of course, I mean, the sky's the limit. We've got
Sorry, James. Two keypads. Is it two keypads? You mean
in
two
and
doors, or there's an out? Okay, the out keypad.
Yeah, so you've got in and out.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's actually it's the most expensive way of doing it because you have to have our control box, so which is like a chunk of money, about half the cost initially, and that doesn't change in size whether you have two keypads or 100 or X, Y, and Z. So 45K for two, and then for the next two keypads, keypads are about £1,000 each.
Okay.
So you could have another door, and the cost quickly kind of reduces, right?
Yes.
So it's tricky to say. I mean, we do. So we haven't really mentioned it, but before this electronic locking business came along, or even now, like I say, maybe people will do 30% of their units with electronic locks, and the rest they'll do with door contacts or in-unit PIR motion sensors, which I haven't mentioned. But basically, that's a door contact on every door on your building. So, and again, that's so you can get notifications like if a door opens, it shouldn't be opening. You can get a sounder and a notification for that. Likewise with the motion sensors that you put in units, which I think are even better.
You do both.
You can do well. No, you probably wouldn't do both. You can, but we offer both. Yeah. My favorite is the in-unit PIR, because there is a trend called tunneling. Have you heard of that?
No.
So I haven't heard much of it recently, but last year there's quite a lot of it. People would rent a unit legitimately, a small one, okay, and then they would go in legitimately, wait for the site to close, and then they would actually break into all the units next door, like tunnel. Basically, they cut a hole in, go through all of them in like both directions, go through all the stuff, find what they want, and then leave in the morning when its site reopens. And the thing is, unless someone who owns those units goes to one in good time, you won't even know when it happened.
Yeah.
Unless you have the motion sensors inside the units. And they're about half the price of an electronic lock. So they're sort of arguably, it depends. And you can also do both in theory.
So let's say you have motion sensors in all the units. Yeah. So let's say a customer from unit number 10 drives up, types in their code at the gate, their PIN code, it opens up. Does it then automatically deactivate
just that one?
Number 10?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Just that one, exactly.
And then as they leave and put their PIN number in again, it reactivates it for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting. So there's the entry. BearBox is the entry.
Yeah.
You also have in the motion sensors in the units, you have the ability to track when a door opens. So can't remember what you call that.
Door contacts.
Door contacts. You also have then actual locks for every door. So that's another option as well.
Yeah.
And you can zone everything, and you also can install the CCTV cameras, as well,
and then monitor them. Well, basically with DSOC, we sort of, to control that end, because we install the cameras, we then set up the DSOC integration so that if there's a problem, they can just come to us as the kind of one point of contact, rather than saying having to ring DSOC and then ring us, and
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, I think you've got it.
Great. Great. Okay. And I think that was it from me. Is there anything else that you think anybody listening should know about BearBox? If they're thinking about it, anything else we haven't covered?
Not particularly. I mean, obviously, if you want a quote, give us send us an email or give us a ring. If you have building plans, they're always great, or site plans, whatever, so we can then advise on what's what. Yeah.
And how do they email? What's your website? Is it bearbox.co.uk?
It is. I think bearbox.co.uk and bearbox.eu. I think it defaults now to the EU site. Okay. And that's where you can, login and whatnot. And I think our email address is sales@bearbox.co.uk.
Okay. So anybody listening can just get in touch.
Yeah.
Get a quote and find out more that way.
Yeah, exactly. And that is often the best because we're often out and about looking at sites as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that.
Okay. Great, James. Thanks very much. That was really helpful. And I'm sure if anyone's any more questions, they'll get in touch. But thanks for your time.
No worries. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Self-Storage Explained, where we aim to provide expert advice on how to set up and scale your self-storage business. For more resources, including financial models and in-depth guides for setting up or growing your business, visit our Self-Storage Academy at stora.co, that's stora.co/academy. And if you would like to find out more about how Stora can help your business grow sales and save time, set up a demo or contact us at stora.co, that's stora.co. Thank you.